photograph. Hang on a second here. I'm going to share screen and share the desktop. This will not be a slick presentation. Wait a minute, I got to get rid of some of this stuff. So I'm going to start with Steve Bellavia's photographs of the eclipse. And Steve, you can describe these. Oh, I should do this. When I asked Steve for photographs, he said, what I should have done was taken a photo of me and the equipment shaking in the fierce, cold wind that morning. That would be a better story of the eclipse of November 8, 2022. I'll just go through these slowly. And Steve, if you would like to comment, please.
Thanks, Ken.
Oh, sorry, guys.
What telescope did you use for this, Steve?
Not a telescope. My Sigma 70 to 300 lens at 300.
Oh, okay.
I knew not to bring my telescopes because it was so windy. There's no way I'd get a good close-up shot with that wind.
Right. And what was your camera? The T3i?
The SL3, yeah, similar. The
SL3. Yeah, okay.
And you know, the moon got into the murk really quickly. You know, it was setting, so there's only like one or two shots of it in, you know, maximum whatever.
Right.
So, and that's just before it went into that cloud line, done at the 70 millimeter instead of the 300.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I zoomed out and did like my one last shot before it disappeared into that haze.
Yeah, that's what happened to most of us. I was hoping it would get a lot lower before it disappeared, but that cloud layer was out there and took it before its time.
Yeah, that and the sun coming up, you know, the twilight was
right.
coming.
Twilight.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve,
Yes.
do you have an image of Uranus right by the moon? I was right near.
It might be in my images. I never went back and looked. I saw that other people had it in there, and some of mine might have it, but I never went back and looked. It might be. It's not as good as I've seen others though.
Okay.
But
okay, so that's Steve, and let's see, George Priotisa, who is out in Arizona getting Mars and the moon perfectly. These are his images. George is a member of the AAA in Manhattan. And that's a sequence that he did, which is stunning. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting Uranus without realizing it. And you can see here's the stellarium thing. So there's a star almost up and a little bit to the left, and then Uranus. So you can see those here. Can I enlarge that? No. Oh, can you see my cursor?
Yeah. Yes.
So there's the star, that's Uranus right there. I'll go back. And
who shot it? Whose picture is this?
George Priotisa.
Okay. Is he here?
No, he's in Arizona.
Okay.
So he gets the moon and Mars no matter what. Now, I have to find, where's that document? Hang on one second. I got a thing here. Don't go away. Let's see. I told you this wouldn't be slick, but it'll be worth waiting for. So don't give up. Let's see. Oh, wrong. Oh, no, here we go. Wait a minute. Okay, whoops. Okay.
Ken, does the video have sound?
I don't know. I'm not sure why I'm not getting the video. Oh, come on. I know that's the Vimeo. Let me try a different browser. Okay, hang on one second. Let me do this. Watch and be amazed. How's that for amazing?
That was cool.
Yeah. How do I get out of this? Let's see. Hold on. And that. So that was George Priotisa. Stan, I wonder if you would like to do your thing. I need to stop sharing, and then Stan's going to share and show us what he got.
Thanks, Ken. So do you see a map on your screen?
Yep, that's great.
Okay, I just thought I'd do a couple slides of the my planning process as I went through figuring out how to photograph the moon with a interesting foreground. And I know that Gantry Plaza State Park in Long Island City, Queens, has this panoramic view of Manhattan, and so the moon was at some point was going to be fairly high. So I thought it'd be an interesting photo. This is the photographer's ephemeris plan for November 8th, during the eclipse. So the pin is at Gantry State Park. And then I noticed from a particular location, the moon during as its total 518 is right above or right around the Empire State Building, which is the red X on the map there. So here's there's just a zoomed in view showing this. The gray line is when just after the moon becomes total eclipse. It's right near the Empire State Building. So I thought it'd make a nice photo with the New York skyline. And here's a Google Earth map of that same area. So the site is the red X here, and I'm pretty familiar with the park. I go there off and on to shoot photos if I need to look west, which you needed to do for the eclipse. And then it's a pretty open park, and I think technically these parks close from about 1 a.m. to 6 a.m., but it doesn't have a fence around it like Central Park doesn't have a fence around it, so you could walk in and out anytime you want. And I've been there pretty early hours in the morning, and it's pretty open and pretty safe. So I thought it'd be a good place to go and put out a notice on the AAA, our Google group email, and a few people joined me. You might be familiar with having looked from Manhattan over to Long Island City. There's the big Long Island sign. It says Long Island. It's the Long Island Railroad sign, and then to the to the top of this picture, off of this picture, is the Pepsi-Cola sign, which they kept up through all the renovation that was going on there. So the one thing I do is, if after I plan something on the map, you don't know exactly what the site's going to look like until you actually go there. I didn't want to show up the morning of the eclipse and find out that a tall building on the east side of Manhattan was blocking my view. So I went over to the exact point that I looked at on the map, and so this is the angle. So this is the actual point on that photographer's ephemeris map. So to me, it looked like a great view. You can see the Empire State Building. The bigger picture here is with the 24mm lens, and then so I zoomed in a little bit, see what a short telephoto, a 70mm looks like, and Empire State Building is perfectly situated between these two buildings, which would have been a disaster if this was behind one of the buildings. So I thought this would be a great spot. As you can see, it's pretty wide open. Big plaza here, smooth surface, places to sit. So hard to ask for anything more. There's lots of other planning things. This is timeanddate.com, which shows you, they do an animation of eclipses, both solar and lunar eclipses, to show you how the eclipse is how it's gonna look from your location, and they give you compass directions, altitude, things like that. So this helps, for me, this helps in planning in terms of what kind of picture I want, what kind of lens I'm gonna use, and just the particulars of the eclipse itself. So this is a bunch of us actually gathered there from the AAA. You could, I think George, myself, Bart, we're also in Asley. So George is way over on the right side of the picture. So this is 4:30 a.m. during the umber phase, about 45 minutes before totality. I thought we'd get a group shot. And actually, another member and his wife joined us, and then two photographer friends of mine who are not in AAA, but they also looked on TPE and found the location and thought it'd be a good spot for a photo, which it definitely was. So here's the skyline with the total eclipse moon.
That's beautiful.
And to me, I think it worked out great, because it was clear shot of the Empire State Building, which is not lit. I think after 2 a.m. they turned the big lights off on the tower. So I knew you really needed to see much more of the building than just the antenna part to get a decent picture of it. This was the picture that I actually visualized when I was going through the planning. I wanted a shot something like this, like a nice vertical shot showing the Empire State Building clearly, with the total eclipse moon. So this particular spot really worked out great, just in terms of where the moon is, the lighting, everything around the picture. And there's just a closer shot. I don't know if that's Uranus, the dot above the moon, but I might have. Of course, I had no idea either that it was out there or near the moon. And I took 3 cameras with me. I was trying to plan a few different shots. The longest telephoto I took was a 200mm. This is with a 200mm. I had a 70 to 200mm zoom lens with me, so that was the longest lens I had. But it turns out to be a pretty useful lens. I could shoot different horizontal verticals, and I could shoot a little bit closer. I thought a little wider shot, like I showed you, tended to work out a little bit better. And as if the eclipse wasn't enough, I think at 5:28 a.m. There was a International Space Station flyover right during the totality. So I had seen that on Heavens Above, the website that shows you the different flyovers of the ISS. So I had planned for that. I brought a third camera with a lens that was just going to be dedicated to that. I mean, it was going to shoot for about 5 minutes, and that was it. But I thought it'd be a pretty good picture. And so this is a composite of 16 images showing the ISS is the dotted line through the center, going from right to left. It actually was, it got pretty bright, and went for quite a distance in the sky. So it was pretty amazing, and you could kind of recognize the outlines of Orion here, the constellations. So the ISS went straight through the belt of Orion, right across the 3 stars in the center, which is kind of an amazing sight to see. Mars is up here, Sirius is over here. So we had a pretty good view of that part of the night sky. And I did an annotated version, and this was selected as astronomy picture of the day for November 12th, one of the eclipse pictures that they chose. And so I tried to mark a few things, Pleiades and Taurus, and to me it made kind of a nice combination of both the eclipse and the city and the ISS flying over. And I also had the third camera was with a wide angle lens that I was doing a series of images that I was going to turn into a composite sequence. And so I sort of similar to what George had done. And usually I try to select a couple minutes apart throughout the whole sequence of the eclipse. I put everything together just to see what it would look like, because I never just assembled all of them. And so you get sort of this strange abstract look of the moon during the partial phase and leading into the total phase. And then also you get essentially star trails going through the sky this was about total of about an hour, I think about an hour and a half of shooting. So that's my final picture, Ken.
Very cool. Wow, very cool indeed. Thank you. Let's see, I forgot what else I have here. Share. So let's see. Grace, do you want to show your photographs, please?
Okay, thank you, Ken. Let me share a few of my photos taken that night.
Grace thought it would be boring to be on Long Island, so she went to Japan.
Okay, I couldn't make to the Gantry Park with Stan, so I did local. And took few photos, and the whole time I used only one lens, 24-105, because it was so windy, so I didn't even use my long lens.
Can I, we were emailing back and forth at night, and Grace thought it'd be cool to go over by the Throgs Neck Bridge, but the problem was the other park choice made the bridge huge and really close, and if she photographed from there, and this was a guessing game, the moon would be such a tiny dot if she was using a 24mm. So then she decided to go to this other park in Great Neck, which is a terrific idea.
This is like the full whole view, the entire view of the lunar eclipse. This is, I believe this is about like 24 millimeters I took. That's including all the constellations which could see that night. This one is heavily cropped. After Ken posted his photo and pointed out the Uranus was there, then I checked my photo, I cropped, I said, oh, I see it too. Yeah, this is getting almost a dawn time. The color is beautiful, and zoomed in a little bit. Yeah, it's another one. So it's a downtime. Yeah, that's all what I'm sharing.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
The thing that kills me is I never thought to shoot at 24 millimeter and include Orion. And so it's so nice like this to see everybody's photograph. And then I could think, what's wrong with me that I never thought to go wide and show Orion? So it was really cool to see Grace's photographs, that she really did everything from sort of super telephoto to the wide angle. And I could have done that if I had a brain. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. I've forgotten. I guess George sent the link for this. And this was a photograph out of Taiwan. And it was the eclipsed moon occulted Uranus, which is very cool. And let's see. Shirag Upreti, who's a friend of Stan and Grace and I, lives in Manhattan. He couldn't be here tonight. So he went to Brooklyn Bridge Park. And so Stan, you were up by Domino, no, yeah, sort of close to Domino Park in the upper right-hand corner here.
No, Domino Park is still in Brooklyn. We were at Gantry Plaza State Park, which is in Long Island City, Queens.
Oh, so either further north than that.
Yes.
Yeah, so Chirag was way down south. Okay. So anyhow, he couldn't be here tonight, but so he was much further south. And this is what he got. Like, come on. How cool is that? It's funny, you see these photographs and think, wow, it's sure is boring to shoot the eclipse from out here on Long Island when everybody else is in the city. And this one kills me. Those pilings in the water. I mean, what a brilliant place to photograph from.
That's a Dumbo Park, right?
I'm not sure, Grace.
Yes, it is.
I'll show. There's the map. Oh no, it looks like it's southwest of Dumbo.
Yeah, it's a Dumbo Park. Yeah, I've been there a lot of times too.
Oh, okay. I mean, but what a stunning foreground, middle ground, and of course the eclipse in the background. It's just beautiful.
I find it amazing that the older building, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, don't light up.
Yeah,
The
right.
office building, it's like almost 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right, right. I guess they leave those lights on all night for
Right, yeah. For the cleaners.
the cleaners, yeah. And I went to Glen Cove, which is close to me. And this is what kills me. Look how bright the moon is. And if I had swung the 24 to the left, I would have had Orion. I had gone here during the day, and these pilings here were really interesting to me. And I thought, wow, if the moon, I mean, to me, it's about the foreground. So if the moon got down in around the pilings, that would be a really cool shot. And it's still sort of, as opposed to just the left-hand side of the picture with Sands Point, Port Washington, you know, the pilings and the lights, I thought made an interesting foreground. And then here's the moon. And let's see if so here's Uranus, and you can actually see, I don't think I can blow that up. I'm not sure. You know what I'll do? I'll pull this out and put it in Photoshop and blow it up when we're done. But I was surprised too. I don't know if you can see that greenish tint, but it does show up greenish.
Ken, there's a zoom on the right-hand side of that screen. See below the camera data, it says zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
use that.
Okay. Hang on. Oh, jeez. Where'd it go?
Pull that window down to make it bigger. Yeah. Click zoom.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Then use your hand to move it around.
I don't have a touch screen.
No, use your mouse. Use your mouse, grab it and move it around with that hand.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There.
Sorry. Thank you.
Right there in the center.
Yeah, there it is. And it's funny because I remember that Uranus was going to be there and I should remember to look for it. And of course I completely forgot. Got back and discovered, in fact, that I had captured it. So what's nice here is it got closer to the horizon. I could zoom in more and I still had an interesting scene. And the moon is much larger, compared to that. So it was reasonable. Oh, and Steve said if people wanted to show their night sky photographs. So I don't know, a week or so ago, I went out a couple of nights and to see Mars over top of Orion like that was just stunning, I thought. So I used a slight diffusion filter during the entire exposure. In the old days, it was called the Akira Fuji effect. And what it does is it makes the brighter stars more obvious. So if I showed you Orion that didn't have the filter on it, each of the stars would just be dots, and some might be a little brighter than others. But with diffusion on it like this, Orion really stands out. It's easier to find the constellation. So I threw that one in there. And I think that's all I have. Frank, I'm sorry, I neglected to download your Mars photographs.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
All right.
So anyhow, there we go. And I hope everybody enjoyed that as much as I did, seeing how everybody did the eclipse slightly differently and got some wonderful photographs in it. I thought it would be nice to bring all the club photographs together. So that's the end of my part. And I think I'm going to end no, that's not right. I want to stop the recording.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
Ken, before we leave, I just looked outside here in Plainview and the sky is clearing up and you might be able to get some good views of the approach of Mars and the moon together.
Thank you for that. I thought I'd take a look after we closed down. But I didn't realize that the moon was going to be that close to Mars. I was lazy and didn't run it through. I use Sky Safari, but anyhow.
Yeah, Ken, I just look outside and well, I'm much further east than probably many of you guys. It's still very cloudy out here, out in Patchogue. No, where he Bob, where he lives in Plainville. Yeah, you're much.
Yeah, I live in Plainview.
Oh, okay, you're much further west than me, so probably you get a clearer sky first than out here.
Yeah,
I'll be back in 1 second. Don't go away.
Imagine it will clear from west to east, so that the further east you are, the later it's going to
Yes,
get.
yes.
It's still not. I mean, it's still not completely clear, but I mean,
Well, it's still a couple of hours away. I mean, It's gonna occur around right before 11 o'clock.
But what's fun is to watch sequentially as the two objects get closer together. So, and then as they move away from each other as well after the conjunction occurs.
I thought I would take a look, thinking that a lot of times it clears from northwest to southeast, and it's completely overcast here in Seacliff. So I'm not sure where it's clearing from, but I'm going to keep an eye on it because we've got until 11:30 to get set up to photograph. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for everyone who donated their photographs for me to show tonight. Did I stop the recording? I guess I did.
It's still recording.
Oh, okay.